Welcome back, friends. Have you ever been watching the movie E.T. and suddenly found yourself overcome with an inexplicable yet all-consuming rage? Well, have I got the game for you, you weirdo? XCOM 2 is a turn-based squad tactics game, where you, the commander, are tasked with freeing Earth from our alien overlords, Advent. In the first game, you were tasked with stopping Advent's invasion of Earth. Good job on that, by the way. In this game, Advent succeeded at conquering Earth, stomping out the Earth's government and replacing them with a spokesperson to humanity who is quite literally a lizard person. Your job is to unite the rebelling factions around Earth and liberate humanity. So, without further ado, let's get right into the extreme xenophobia. Like the Warhammer 40k kind, not like the Deep South kind, not that one. For starters, I'm gonna explain to you what these buttons do. First off is fire weapon. When you hit this, the game will show you what targets you can hit and what your chance to hit them are. This number is a lie. Unless that number says 100%, there is a very real chance that you're gonna miss your shots. Your chance to hit shots depends on a couple of factors, like how far you are from the target, what you're using to shoot them with, and cover. When a unit is in cover, all enemies get a lower chance to hit. Units not in cover or in cover but are flanked are very easy to hit and very easy to crit, so you should always be in cover and paying attention to where your enemies are, lest you pay the cost in blood. Now, important clarification, cover does not reduce damage, it just makes you less likely to take damage. So if the reason that you're hiding behind cover is you're worried that E.T.'s stepdad is about to turn your dick into an innie, just know that he still might. The next button we have is Overwatch. Overwatch is going to be your bread and butter. It lets you set up your soldiers so that they shoot the next thing that moves. This is good for setting up ambushes, stopping enemies from flanking you, or just praying that some poor bastard steps out of the fog into your line of sight, like some 19-year-old stepping onto the beaches of Normandy. Next we have Hunker Down, also known as the Please Don't Hurt Me button. This button further decreases your chance to be hit while in cover, at the expense of doing nothing else that turn. You should only use this button when controlling a VIP, when your soldier is one hit from death, or when you find yourself actively on fire. If you find yourself hovering over this button in any other scenario, let me know what not Valhalla feels like. Coward. And last but not least is your grenades. Outside of dealing area of effect damage, grenades can also be used to destroy buildings and shred armor. There are other buttons, but those vary heavily between soldiers and situations. At the start of each mission, your small squad is dropped into a new map covered in fog of war. In the beginning, you'll be able to run 4 soldiers, eventually upgrading to 6. Regardless, you're going to be heavily outnumbered. This is where the first elements of tactics come in. You could blindly run into the map and attack the first thing you see. That plan will make you very familiar with making new soldiers. The optimal approach is to move forward till you see the enemy first, then using Overwatch you can set up an ambush. But speaking of making new soldiers, let's learn that. All of your soldiers start off as rookies until they rank up. Then they become one of 4 classes: Rangers, Grenadiers, Sharpshooters, and Specialists. As your soldiers rank up in these classes, they'll get not only stronger, but more unique in what they can do, picking between 2 different tech trees, normally favoring one, but occasionally dipping your toes into the other. And to know how to build each class, you're gonna have to learn what they do. The Ranger is your close combat unit. Armed with a shotgun and a machete, these troops have better accuracy at close ranges, and if they're within running distance of a target, you can melee them for high damage. But still be mindful that wherever they land, they're still covered and not flanked, or else you basically had them turn around and drop trow in the middle of the lion's den without any loot. Unless of course it's the late game and you're running Untouchable and Bladestorm, then it's not you who has to worry about the lube. As a ranger ranks up, they'll start to either specialize in stealth or melee. Specializing in stealth will allow you to stay in concealment even when the rest of your squad has been discovered, allowing your squad to serve as the main distraction while your ranger quietly flanks around to deal a critical strike to whatever you deem to be the biggest threat, even eventually allowing them to re-enter concealment after being discovered to do it again. Now, that's well and good for you more sophisticated tacticians, but I prefer the alternative. Specializing in melee damage will turn you into one of those crazy people in LA who are immune to tasers and pepper spray because they're too high on PCP. On top of the increase in damage, you'll become immune to enemy overwatch, and if any of those alien bastards dares try to beat you at your own game, they're gonna learn a thing or two about the word consequence. Grenadiers are your heavy weapons specialist. Armed with a minigun and a grenade launcher, your goal is not so much to help your team as it is to hinder your enemies. As a grenadier, you have more grenades than the average soldier and can launch them further. As you rank up, you can either specialize in the minigun or in the grenade launcher. Focusing on the minigun allows you to suppress enemies, reducing their chance to hit. Or you can also upgrade it so that you can destroy enemy cover without using grenades. Focusing on the grenade launcher gives you resistance to explosions and just generally makes you better at destroying things. Mostly your enemies and their cover, but no one's perfect. Sharpshooters are your long-range option. This class rocks a sniper rifle and a pistol, for supporting your team at a longer range or protecting yourself at a shorter one. If you're focusing on sniping, you want to put your sharpshooter somewhere where they have a line of sight to most of the team. That way they can provide fire support from long distances. This is probably the most useful way to use the sharpshooter, but there is another path. A cooler path. Building your sharpshooter around a pistol turns them into a Chad who can fire shots without even using an action, or using one action to take a shot at every enemy in your line of sight. This town isn't big enough for any of you. Sharpshooter is probably the class that I mix skill trees the most, because at one point or another, you're going to find yourself at a range where either skill is more useful. Last but not least, we have Specialists. In the early game, a Specialist is basically a rookie with more health and a weird drone following him around. Late game, however, they are either the sole reason half your team makes it home alive, or the anonymous hacker known as 4chan. Focusing on the medic lets you heal and stabilize your teammates for when things go wrong. And trust me, things will go wrong. What the fuck was that? Focusing on hacking makes you a menace to anything robot, allowing you to stun or even take control of enemy units. Now, there is also a secret 5th class, but I played the entire game without even researching psionics, so I'll leave that for you to discover. As you play and get a feel for the combat, you'll develop your own style of how to use these game mechanics to set up your perfect combat scenario, until something throws a wrench in your plans that literally drops the floor out from under you. And as you panic to regain control of the situation, that is what XCOM is all about. XCOM 2 is a game loaded with surprises. Like a bear trap under your doormat. When things go wrong, it's a true test of your skills as the commander. But sometimes, things go from bad to catastrophic. When you've lost a soldier you were particularly attached to, or maybe you're at risk of losing your entire squad, that's when you can whip out your ace in the hole. Save scumming. In this game, you can reload an old save and rewrite the course of a battle, allowing you to take a new approach to an encounter. Learning your lesson and improving doesn't necessarily mean you have to lose a lot of progress. This is a perfectly normal and encouraged way to play the game. Unless you're one of those people that reloads a save over and over until you land a 14% chance to hit. Victory means nothing if failure was never an option in the first place. And you're better than that. Now that we've started to learn how to play the game, what's up with these aliens? Advent's lackeys come in many shapes and sizes. Basic troopers are cannon fodder. Nothing special about them, just another warm body in the Advent war machine. But then you get into the variants, like the Stun Lancer. Stun Lancers are just like the normal troopers, except they also have a melee option and a hankering for civilian casualties. There's a lot more, but I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise for you. Getting into the more alien aliens, we have sectoids. Sectoids are going to serve as your introduction to the wide world of fuckery that is psionics. Psionics are mind powers that allow aliens to do things like reanimate and control corpses, or mind control your own soldiers to use them against you. Now, that might sound scary, but don't shut your brain off and kill your own soldier just because they're shooting at you. If you notice, the game draws a literal line between your soldier and the alien controlling them. So if you sever that connection, they'll go back to normal. Next up, we have the Vipers. These sexy serpents are capable of grabbing your troops from a distance and binding them, leaving them exposed to damage and awakening strange and confusing feelings inside of them. God, I wish that were me. The Faceless are mimicked straight out of John Carpenter's The Thing. They're slow, powerful, and ugly as hell. If you discover them at a distance, they're very simple to deal with, but if they reveal while they're right next to you and you're already in a bit of a pinch, it ain't good. Mutons are the tankier foot soldiers employed by Advent. These bad boys have armor that reduces incoming damage but can be shredded by skills or explosives. They also have Berserkers. Berserkers are beefier mutons that live and breathe to beat the piss out of you. Instead of a gun and armor, they have more health, more damage, and blood that's about 60% testosterone. Advent mechs are the general robotic enemy you'll be fighting. They're very tanky and will quickly familiarize you with the concept of dispersion. Now, those are some of the more basic enemies, and there's a lot more in the game, but I don't want to spoil them. I believe half the XCOM experience is running into a new enemy, getting scared, getting the shit kicked out of you, and doing better next time, and I would hate to rob you new players of that experience. Hey guys, welcome to Fallout Shelter. The Avenger is your base of operations and is full of facilities for upgrading your soldiers. The lab is where Tegan, the head scientist for XCOM, is located. As you collect items and the corpses of your new enemies, you'll unlock new research projects, like upgrading from ballistic weapons to magnetic ones. Performing autopsies on alien corpses unlocks new technologies to aid you and your soldiers in battle. Tegan, I don't care about the medical properties of the venom. Can you fuck? Next up is Shen in Engineering. This is where you build the weapons and armor upgrades you unlock from Tegan. Shen is also in charge of the Proving Grounds, where you can build more experimental items, like specialized armor and experimental ammo, like tracers or armor piercing. Other notable rooms are the Defense Matrix, which lets you build turrets in case you ever come under attack, as well as the Infirmary, which allows you to heal your troops faster. And lastly, the Guerrilla Tactics School, that gives you upgrades like increasing squad size. Customization is one of the high points of the game for me. The game gives you a pretty solid variety of options, even if the men do look a little Neanderthal-like. A fun thing to do is make real-life friends and family as soldiers in the game, and then you can get mad at the real-world version of them, when the game version of them fucks something up. It's better if you have them with you on a Discord server, so you can directly berate them for missing anything over a 70 to hit. Otherwise, you'll begin to slowly resent the person in real life, and when they ask you why you've been so cold as of late, you'll have no real reasonable explanation to give them. So you gotta hit them with that, "You've changed, man," and then block them. Or like handle that in a more mature way, I guess. You could try that. That's not really. I haven't tried that though. That's untested. That's an unproven method. The customization in this game can also be greatly enhanced via the Steam Workshop. Some notable examples from my playthrough are V1 and V2, Gabriel and Minos Prime, Jetstream Sam and Sundowner, and the Hot Catgirl armor from Halo Infinite. The Steam Workshop rarely disappoints, especially with such an active and talented modding community. But in one regard, I found myself greatly disappointed. Fix this! XCOM 2 has several big DLCs, and I personally recommend all of them after you've played through the base game at least once. I'll be giving a brief summary of the DLCs, which I'll try to keep as spoiler-free as possible for new players, to get an idea for each one to decide whether or not it's worth their money. In this DLC, Shen's dearly dead-parted dad leaves us with blueprints for a new class, our own version of the Advent Mech. These Spark units are tankier than average XCOM troops, with the trade-off that they can't take cover. But because they can't take cover, they also can't be flanked, so you can kind of be a jackass with your positioning. Within reason. The Alien Hunter DLC adds 3 new alien rulers: the Viper King, the Berserker Queen, and the Archon King. These rulers can appear randomly during any mission. They have a shit ton of health, and whenever you make a movement, the aliens get a ruler reaction, and basically get to take a turn during your turn. Once they're dead, you can skin them and wear them as suits and gain their powers. It also adds 3 different weapons: the Boltcaster, which is a single-shot crossbow with high damage and a chance to stun, the Hunter's Axe, which is a melee weapon that you can throw for a free action, and lastly there's the Shadowkeeper, which sucks ass. At this point, I associate the War of the Chosen campaign with XCOM 2 more than I do the base campaign. This is easily the biggest DLC of the bunch. It adds 3 new factions to recruit from, 3 alien champions, and a new faction loyal to neither alien nor man. Starting off with the new Resistance factions, we have the Reapers, a group of stealth snipers built around supporting your team while hiding in the shadows. Then we have the Skirmishers, a faction of Advent defectors who specialize in close quarters combat and are armed with a grappling hook that lets them pull enemies towards them or pull themselves towards enemies. Last and kinda least, because they weren't special enough to get a story mission like the other 2, we have the Templars. The Templars are psionic zealots who wield the energy swords from Halo. They're based around a mechanic known as momentum, basically meaning the more they do during a turn, the more energy they build up. As an example, if you get a melee kill during one of your turns, you then get a free action to parry, which blocks the next incoming hit. In my humble opinion, I feel like the Templars got kinda hoed. I would personally love to know how a cult of psionic zealots got formed, or what their relation is to the rest of the world. But I think this game came out in like 2016 or some shit, so we're probably not getting that patch. The biggest part of this DLC, however, is the Chosen themselves. The Chosen are 3 alien champions chosen by Advent to hunt down the commander. Each one controls a section of the globe, and they get stronger and gain more skills the longer you take to take them down. And once you kill them, you get to steal their shit. As I said before, I highly recommend all of these DLCs if you've already completed the base game and you're looking to spice things up or throw in an extra challenge. XCOM 2 for me is a super nostalgic game. Honestly, half the reason I made a video on it in the first place was just so I'd have an excuse to play it again and still call it being productive. I'd really recommend this game along with the first game, even though I haven't played that one in forever. And if you guys want, there's also another one called Chimera Squad, which I've started but haven't quite finished. I'm thinking of doing that as an upcoming video idea. Overall though, I love the gameplay of XCOM, I love the world of XCOM, I love customizing my characters, I love getting into weird/shitty combat situations, trying to figure my way out of it, screaming at my friends over Discord calls for fucking things up. Overall, it's a great time. I've never played the multiplayer. It's always been dead as shit. I have absolutely no idea what that's like. I'm sorry if this one felt a little off. I'm hoping it was good. I feel pretty good about it, but I had to take like a 3-week hiatus in the middle of doing this. So if anything's a little bit off, I'm blaming it on that completely, and I'm taking no responsibility as a creator for that. If you want to stick around here, I've got a few extra things right after this part. But to my returning viewers and subscribers, thanks for remembering that I still exist. And if you're new to the channel and you like the video, please subscribe and check out some of the other ones. Alright, I'll leave you guys to the bonus stuff. Thanks for watching. Hey, so long story short, I completely forgot to explain the Lost, and instead of putting it back into the video where it would normally be, like a fucking professional, I'm gonna take this time to try out a really stupid bit I had planned. I say I had planned. That's not fucking true at all. I discussed this with my best friend Erin and my fiance. Erin likes it. She doesn't like it. I don't think she thinks I'm that funny, to be honest. But she doesn't watch these, so I can say whatever I want. And there's there's no recourse from her for that. But the bit, anyways, is well, all right. So I have a thing of. I'm gonna fucking put a whole packet of Pop Rocks in my mouth, and then try to be semi-coherent about what the Lost are. So we'll see how that goes. All right, here we go. So I hope this is like really awful ASMR. I fucking hate ASMR, but if you like it, I mean I hope this fucking does something for you. All right, here we go.
Okay, so basically, oh my fucking god. Alright, basically the Lost like these fucking zombie guys, right? You can shoot them in the head for free. You get free action. You can go like, you can shoot like 8 fucking people a turn. It's fucking sick. Alright, but they're attracted to noise. They really like noise.
Jesus Christ. Fuck this. This is stupid. Sectoids are the little green man. They're not green. Why did I say that?